and I want to live on Facebook. And can you share it via your phone or anything to your own pages? And I'll share it to tribes, and I'll share it to my page. I'll try and share it to yours if I can.
Yeah, you can definitely share it to mine. Yeah. I'm on my phone now, so
Live with Niomi, Stella Rose, and Divine Embodiment. Kunda. Get the link for the workshop to put it in as well. Copy. I need to close all my tabs. If you have Facebook open, we'll have to mute it as soon as possible so the feedback loop isn't huge, you know?
I don't think it's open.
Okay. So going live, it's preparing. And we're live. I'm checking if we're going live. We're live. Hello, everybody. Bear with me while I share this. I'm checking if we're going live. We're live. Hello, everybody. Bear with me. While I share this. I'm checking if we're going live.
It's a few.
What I tried not to happen. Okay, here we go. Sorry, everybody, about that feedback loop, which I was trying to prevent happening, but welcome, welcome as you join us. Hi, Irina. Hello, Judy. And I am just going to share this into our Star Tribes group. So welcome all of you beautiful people in Star Tribes of Light. Please join our Star Tribes community. Anybody who's interested in receiving healings that we do monthly, transmissions, and just a beautiful community that is sharing everything that we are co-creating right now. Hello, Paula. Hi, my lovely. And please do share this on your page. Feel free to tag Niomi and myself. And I am just going to share this as well with Niomi on her page. Ooh. Let me see if I get this right. No, that's not working. Would somebody do me the honors of sharing this to Niomi's page? Thank you. Hello, Ashleen and Eve. Welcome, welcome. All right, my darlings. Hey, Otundia. Here we go. I'm going to give a minute for a few more beautiful people to join us. I have you all here on the phone. Those of you that have questions, feel free to post them in the comment section because we'll get to them later. Any questions that you might have about what we're going to discuss today, and I'm just going to get into that. I want to welcome the most beautiful and magnificent Niomi Stella Rose. She's from the UK and she's currently living in Sweden with her beautiful family. She's 5 children, I think, isn't it, Niomi? And Niomi is a powerhouse. We are both co-creating on our workshop, the upcoming workshop that's happening. the light language initiation. Niomi is a feminine embodiment mentor. She teaches Kundalini dance in her monthly cacao ceremonies, and they're definitely worth catching if you're available when she posts the next dates. She's an energy healer and a light language activator. And she's a past attendee of my previous light language workshops. And we've just become to know each other and to connect at a really deep level. And that's why we're co-creating, because this is what it's all about. Her dominant form of light language, my loves, is body movement. It is the signing, the hand signing, bringing it through the hands and bringing it through the body in code format. And I'm going to invite Niomi now to share anything else she'd like to add about herself. Hopefully I've done it justice, Niomi. And maybe for you to share a little bit about what it is you do. Like, what is feminine embodiment?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mary Catherine, for those kind words. Yeah, feminine embodiment is really celebrating our feminine energy and our body, this body that we've chosen in this lifetime. So for you and I, we've chosen to be women. So really enjoying that choice through the body and allowing the soul to express herself through the body. So not ignoring the body at all, but celebrating everything about the body. And I do this from a Taoist and Tantric perspective. So I bring the Taoist wisdom, which is a lot to do with sexual energy cultivation. So using our life force energy, our Kundalini energy as fuel. So for me, it's more important than food. It's more important than all the 3D things. We use breath, we use the yoni egg practice, and a lot of visualization to cultivate sexual energy, circulate it, and transmute anything, any kind of what in the Taoist tradition is labeled as kind of negative energy. And I don't love that term, but it's quite clear then what it is. It's heavier, denser energies and emotions. Right. So yeah, and the tantric perspective is more using the senses. So using sound, using breath, using movement, using awareness and touch. So bringing all of this as sacred. And so this is something I do every day. I live a really tantric life. So yeah, that's my kind of main interpretation of feminine embodiment, cultivating sexual energy and celebrating our feminine energy, which is a lot to do with playfulness. It's a lot to do with sensualness, celebrating our erotic innocence. It's very much empowering us and coming back to the self. So accepting the whole self, including the sexual self. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, you did. And what sticks out for me, because a big part of my journey has been moving into deeper embodiment from a journey that I've been definitely outside my body, and maybe anybody watching can relate in that way. And coming in and using dance, and as I've been holding these workshops and now co-hosting with Paula Walsh and yourself and all the other lovely ladies, I've realized, even though it's something I really, really wanted to do in the workshop, I've had to work through stuff myself, like shame, like moving through energies of being seen, being heard. In that, you use the word erotic innocence, and that's a beautiful way to say it, because we've often had those words sullied, degraded, inverted. And I suppose when I've seen your work, and you came the last time we did the workshop, and I witnessed your sacred dance and feeling the emotions that came through and deeper remembrances again, right? Like it just evoked such a healing. And I felt stuff move through the body, like the heat, the shame, the remembering, the body wanting to join in such a way, and yet feeling somehow I was still being pulled back and going, whoa, this is interesting. And breathing into it and discovering, okay, what needs to be released here? How can I be more free in my movement, my body, my glory, my erotic innocence, and reclaim it? And that's a lot of what we're doing on earth right now as well, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you for sharing, sister, because it's so true. And this is what I see with a lot of other sisters, that when I am dancing or I am radiating the codes, that's all I'm doing. I'm just bringing them through my body, and it's codes often of radical self-love and self-acceptance, as well as the erotic codes and the sexual sovereignty codes, the womb codes. But it's basically every sister has the same thing. It says the same words. Heat, that's the shame and the guilt and the judgment. A little bit sometimes comparison, competition, jealousy, and that needs to transmute so that we can then feel like, then we can see and feel what's actually happening, and we can see another sister's beauty and her own codes. Basically, it gives us permission to transmit and to channel our own codes, and have this beautiful ecstatic experience and truly embodying this experience that we're having here. So I live my whole life every day in this acceptance of myself, and sometimes it's a bit messy and it's chaotic and it's emotional and it's a bit ugly, and sometimes it's very, very beautiful and gentle, and it's all about accepting everything. And the Kundalini energy is very powerful. It's not to be underestimated, but also it's not to be feared. It's very powerful for transformation, and it's, we can activate it through movement, dance, sound, breath, yoga, and the light language that comes through is just so perfect. It makes everything faster. What do you think?
Absolutely. And there's a sense of when we gather in sacred ceremony, which is what we do on the light language group course, there's a safety in that, there's a protectiveness in that, and there's a deeper remembrance as we bring in the codes. And it's a little more, I would say, yes, we're moving through it, but it's quicker, like you said, and perhaps with more ease and grace. It's like a quantum leap within this aspect of healing. Does that make sense? Do you feel it true when I say that as well?
Yeah, and there's so much to be said for doing, this work in a group of sisters, because we can do a lot one-on-one. But when we're in a group, and I can share from my own experience when I did the light language one with you, and I remember when I saw, I'm sure she won't mind me saying, but I saw a sister Tracy and really struggling to bring through her light language because she had her own experiences in childhood, and they were so similar to mine. And so when I could see her struggle, it made me much more accepting about my own blocks and my own struggles with speaking. And so I think that's part of the magic of doing light language in a group.
Yeah.
Because a lot of sisters will come to your course, the workshop, and they'll already speak some light language. And then there'll be some sisters who don't speak at all. But there's something for everyone, I feel. And the body is it's just a really, as I said, so many sisters are just ignoring the body, bypassing, and we've both done that too. And it's really powerful to do this work in a group. So I'm quite excited, actually. It's very exciting.
The body work as well, the body movement, there's a reason I kind of put that towards the end of the workshop. And for me, it's because even though I know it was your dominant form, you already were bringing through light language silently through the hands in signing and in dance. It was the speaking for you that you were coming to activate, right? But we, in the way that I formed the workshop is we opened the voice chakra, the throat chakra, and when we're doing a lot of these exercises, resetting the nervous systems, because the codes are in, the body movement anchors. The body movement enables the codes to assimilate and move down through the whole system. And as we're all different, it's just one of the reasons I've put it kind of at the end, because it is an anchoring force, and very transformative, transmuting. So I just kind of said I would say that as well. It's also, um, for me, and this is kind of for me, I think we'll all have different experiences. I found when I was doing it, I actually had a soul retrieval during one of the courses, and I mean, you only can bring people as far as you've been as well. And I realized, wow, and I had this aspect of self that was outside, that I hadn't seen, I hadn't heard, I hadn't realized, and it was a part that was rejected, and it was to do with the sensuality, sexuality aspect of me, right? And when this aspect came back in, and there was a lot of, deep work going on, and I spoke of it, and this is the thing, we witness each other, and I noticed this. I felt that too. I didn't know this either. Um, and this is why I have you here, because you've done so much work in this. Your mirror is even greater, if that makes sense. And I wanted to say that, like, there's no other person I would rather journey with to do this aspect in a safe space rather than you, Niomi. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, sister. Yeah, it's just really receiving those words. Thank you, and I'm really excited for us to go deeper. But yeah, like I've done this work not just as I can do this work on so many different levels, but I've also been doing this work through the journey of becoming a mother, and with all my children. I have 5 children, and so with each child, with each transition, from maiden to mother, to another, to a different type of mother, and then another and another, it's a whole unraveling. And so the sexual aspect of it, yeah, I've experienced that myself. I've retrieved aspects of myself as, priestess,
Yes.
Dakini, as tantric goddess, even. Yeah, and each part is so powerful, and also a little bit painful, but quite. And this is part of the work. It's the tantric work. We accept everything. We're not just trying to have the ecstasy and
Yep.
the and the orgasms. We're also enjoying the whole process, and especially the spiral, the feminine spiral of descent, when we get to rest and just be, and just cry, and then we spiral upwards again, a little bit shinier and with new wisdom and new energy as well. And that's why I love, and with a lot of love. So I really, I'm sending you some cacao in the post, and this is like my secret is, working with the light language, working with the sexual energy, and working with cacao together. So it's like a little triad, a little threesome. It's so powerful. It's so powerful.
It is. I mean, the cacao is the heart connector, isn't it? And then the Shakti, you mentioned the sexual energy, that's the womb and the root. And then the dance is the expression of it all out through us. It's a beautiful symbiotic melding, I suppose. And the strength is in the use of the triangle. I do feel that as well. I love how you mentioned that descending and ascending, the spiral within and the spiral without it into greater expansion. And when you said that, it was the image of Indiana that came through. You like moving into the underworld, dancing our way down the levels into deeper truth, revealing ourselves. She strips herself bare every layer she goes down to become the naked truth, vulnerable truth of herself, as she delves into that space and rises once again into the goddess energy as she comes out of it. I just thought that it just reminded me of that. And I kind of wanted to say that because it's so true, that Dakini, the goddess expression through the body, it's all part of this, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is one like I love how you're talking about, how she strips herself bare, and that's what it is. We're unraveling, taking off layers and layers of social conditioning and programming, cultural programming, religious, past life trauma. So it is it's an unraveling, and it can be it can be like a big take it all off. Or it can be a bit like a lot of resistance. No, it's cold. No, I'm shy. Or it can be quite sensual and, like a striptease. We're taking things off. We're making it as fun as we want it to be. And that's part of the feminine path. Trying to make it, we're trying to enjoy every aspect, even the very heavy, denser, painful suffering.
Mm.
We can find some beauty in that too. And these are the Dakini and tantric goddess teachings of everything is okay. All of us is okay. And
Yeah.
this is what we do with the dance, the sacred dance transmissions. It's
Mm.
very much allowing the soul to express herself through dance, through movement. It doesn't have to be dance. It can be we do a lot of Kundalini shaking. My background is in a lot of different types of yoga, but Kundalini and Shakti yoga. So using the body, stretching the body. So we don't have to dance. It can be anything. It can just be in stillness. I teach Qigong as well. There's a lot that happens in stillness, but
Yeah.
it's a big acceptance, and that I think is what I transmit as well when I'm transmitting it now, but also in dance and movement and light language, is this radical self-love and acceptance.
So true. When you said that, even in stillness, I remember, and some of the women had this just deep holding, swaying and holding, and that was their dance, and that was so profound for them. That was exactly how and what they needed, their soul in that moment. That was their vulnerability being seen, and holding of self while held in the container. That was a sacred dance. It's so simple. We kind of think sometimes it's complicated.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
that's in the stillness is often when because even if we're still, the physical body is still, the energy is still moving within the body, within the meridian, and also in our field, the energy is still moving and expressing, so even if it looks like we're still, there's so much happening, and it's all perfect.
It is. Yeah. And that's a big thing of the acceptance, and releasing what we think it should be, and just allowing. I think for me, there was a lot of releasing that conditioning of dance looks like this, because I used to shake the booty out on the dance floor 24/7 in my younger days. So for me as well, I had to go through this deconditioning, and what did it look like, and how did I present physically? It's so interesting, because there's such a deep holding of oneself in this, while allowing yourself to be seen, or even not seen, just being. Yeah, thank you, Naomi. I wanted to also ask you a little bit about your labors. You mentioned you danced through your labors to me before we came on, and I was fascinated by this. My sister's just had a baby, and how there's a lot of conformity in how you have a baby and what it should look like. And you kind of deconstructed that whole thing from what you told me. Would you like to share a little bit? I know it's private, but anything that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it. It's all womb stuff, so bring it on.
Totally related. And yeah, I mean, I've had 5 babies in different countries, and obviously at different stages of my own soul expansion and my own growth. So, but I can definitely tell you, I can share about my last one, which was very much, an orgasmic birth. I was, and it was very healing as well, because she was an unplanned baby. But she was the baby that I had, the most connection with when she was still on the other side, and so it was very much like a dance between the two of us.
Mm.
The other labors, I've been quite in my mind, like trying to control, oh, when is she coming? When is he coming? He's late. Is he okay? Because I've got both girls and boys. But this last one, I was really trying to listen to her wisdom, and still very challenging. Anyone who's had a baby knows it's quite a big initiation of patience and trust and surrender, all of those feminine aspects. But yeah, I did a lot of dancing, a lot of hip movements. So the dancers, when you're about to have a baby, you can't get into fancy positions and remember any directions. You're just listening to the body and the baby, and it was very much, she was just saying spiral, spiral and spiral. So we were doing so many hip spirals, and it was very simple, and for hours, because labor tends to last quite a long time, and a lot of breathing. So exhaling with sound, and then with each exhale, just expanding and opening. And yeah, I was channeling light language back then, just through my body and my hands. Didn't really know what it was. I just knew it was a lot of energy, because I had been practicing energy healing for a while. So, but just allowing this energy, Shakti energy, Kundalini life force energy, to circulate and expand. And with her, I experienced a lot of energy orgasms during the whole birth, the whole experience. It was one of my shorter ones as well. So yeah, it's in Tantra and the Taoist practices, and a lot of what I channel is from the Dakinis and the Tantric goddesses, really usually specific to a person. Like, so when I work with you, it would be specific to what your soul is guiding me and saying, oh, she might need this. And I speak specifically to your yoni as well. What is your yoni needing right now? And so what I'm channeling is often, really specific little tweaks that they need. But one that often comes through is that, to accept the pleasure, and that it can come in lots of different forms. And even just the idea of the experience of orgasm can be so many different things. It doesn't have to just be what we have been taught, what we've seen, or what a male perspective is. And it can be very unique to you, and it can change. So my experience has just changed, just from being a mum and having, a different body to what I had when I was 28, when I had my first child, and accepting everything, and expanding. So the idea that pleasure is absolutely limitless. It's just us as humans limiting that. So I'm just see if there's anything else, because I can feel like something probably for you, Mary Catherine. Yeah, like there's definitely a strong message. I'm aware that we're live. That's like, but like strong message. What is the clear message for Mary Catherine? Yeah, like a strong message of really playing with yourself, as in like having this energy of playfulness with the self. So a flirtation with Mary Catherine, from Mary Catherine.
Totally feel that. And I mean, a major part of my purpose, my work, is play, and that's how we bring in codes, is kind of get out of the head and bring it through play. So what you're saying makes total sense. That's my kind of, I like to play. So why not play with this? Why do I make something else serious? This doesn't need to be serious either, like the healing of the womb. Right? You use the word, Niomi, initiation. And I wanted to talk about that because this is forgotten sacred mystery. This type of dance, light language itself, is a sacred that has been suppressed, it's forgotten. We went into the dark ages, and it's now coming out during this, let's say, the awakening, the second coming of this energy. You know, we have different words for it, but it is that we're moving into this space where it's literally every millisecond people are activating either spontaneously their own language of light, their own initiation, awakening. I don't know a better word. Ascension. You know, all these words are kind of, I can't find a better one, but I think people will get what I'm saying. And sacred dance, and we're using it with the light language here, is a form of an initiation. And I wanted to kind of go a little bit into the history of it because it's ancient. This isn't something Niomi made up, or, you know, it's just from Taoist or Tantric. It's even older, before those words were even present in our vocabulary, right? And I have, just from a personal point of view, I was nudged by spirit to bring it into the light language course, even though it's like, well, I had this whole thing of like, well, I don't know anything about this, you know? And those of you that joined my very first light language course, you did great bearing with me as I was self-discovering. But it was an initiation, and it was a version or an aspect of self that came through, and she was Egyptian looking. She was a priestess, essentially. Now, this is just my experience. And she brought me into the temples, and she was part of the mystery school. It felt like, you know, Isis, that era, that lineage. And essentially, I had a whole experience. And one of the meditations, activations that we do in the course contains what she showed me. And it was bringing me into sound temples and dance temples, specifically regarding the sacred dance, the Kundalini activation, the Shakti energy, the divine feminine power, channeling in the goddess that we be, that we are, from all realms of existence, and healing with that. Like she was showing me these initiations done at specific times, and they were sacred dances for this, another sacred dance for that, and another dance for this. For birthing mothers, there was a dance and a song. For the death rituals, there was a dance. For special ceremonial purposes, kings being crowned, let's say, there was a dance. And it was considered a super high honor to be part of that lineage and to bring forth this dance. And the power of the dance, the sacred dance, was recognized. It could stop wars. It could stop plagues. It would evoke, I mean, we know, we've heard a rain dance, right? It would evoke the elements, and crops would bloom, rain would fall when it was needed. It would give the locations of new temples that needed to be built. It would create grid systems in the earth. It was just something that was so natural to us that was forgotten. And Niomi, you're bringing it back to life. You're bringing it by you just, you know, being and showing. And it's like a show and tell. Sometimes we just need to see it so that we remember and believe it, and then allow and choose to embody it in however it looks for us, you know. Um, there's also an element with the sacred dance, and I was remembering before we came on the call, and you know, it's been misused. The sacred dance was inverted, it was misused. And I suppose an example of that would be Salome, and John the Baptist. One, you know, if you're from a Christian tradition, this is a classic example where she danced for the king. And in the dance, she manipulated and asked for what she wanted. And he was powerless by her Shakti energy. Now, that's a manipulated form of it, but it shows you that these dances can be used for the good or not so good. And right now, we're deprogramming the fears we have maybe around where there's persecution. You know, I spoke about that because I had memories of, you know, when I dance, I remembered that the temples were desecrated and we were persecuted as priestesses as well, as healers. And we're almost moving that through us when we dance now in this day and age as well, and bringing in those codes. It's deep, deep karmic and ancestral healing. I went off in a spiel there, but let me know what you feel about with the history of it. I mean, I'm only just touching on it there regarding initiation.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so true that, you know, it can be misused. And it's also, you know, just sexual energy is very much manipulated right now. And so a lot of sisters have have a lot of shame just around dancing, you know, or being, or, you know, it's almost like has to be toned down. Everything has to be toned down so that we feel safe.
Mm.
And I feel that as well a lot from my own childhood. I had very kind of traditional parents, who really wanted to tone down my Shakti energy. You know, they would even say it. You know, you can't look too pretty. You know, you don't want to look. Everyone's looking at you. Tone it down. So I learned that, quite young, to tone everything down, to be safe. So it is like, it's almost like a liberation
Yeah.
to just be myself, which is all we're doing. We're just being ourselves, and our self is fluid too, can change. But with the I love what you shared about the history,
Mm-hmm.
and I often channel the goddess Ishtar and her sexual rights. So I bring in light language and dance in my whole day, including when I make love. So it can be, very powerful and very, very healing, not just for, another person, but also for myself, after each experience. And it doesn't have to look like, what we think a sexual experience is. It's very healing. It's like for me, it's like going and receiving a Reiki treatment, or going and getting it's combined, with the heart space, with love. And I also dance and channel these sacred dances with my children. So I'm not just waiting for 10 minutes when I'm free. I can dance for 1 hour, and my children will be coming and going in the room. I'll be dancing in the living room and the kitchen, and there's 5 of them and my husband. There's a lot of us in the house, and people just come and go, and I know that transmission is healing for them on some level, and that they will join in, and I can see how their codes that they bring in through their dance and their soul expression, even my 5-year-old, is very healing for myself.
Yeah. Oh, this is a vast area to explore, I think. Yeah, it's a beautiful, vast area. I think we've touched on a good bit here. I'm going to just check and see if there's any questions in the comments, Naomi, and afterwards, would it be okay for us to bring through a short transmission in light language to give a little taster of the energies? Again, we'll just give a taster and see. How does that sound?
Sounds really good. And you're right. It is a really, really, it's a huge topic. But if you come to, in Galway in May, in my sacred sexuality retreat, if you're still in Galway, we'll be going really a lot, doing a lot of different practices. And yeah, we'll be going very deep. And
would you share if there's anybody that would be interested, even by just we've just shared now, if they, what is the retreat? Where is it? What's the dates? How can they get in contact with you? And what else do you offer? I'm going to look through the comments while you do that.
yeah, if this is a topic that calls to you, listening to your soul and feeling if you are attracted to this work, it's not for everyone in this lifetime. But you're very welcome to contact me on Facebook Messenger, Niomi Stella Rose, or I'm over on Instagram as well at stella.wellness, to book some sessions, or to come to my ecstatic cacao circle, which is every month, where we dance a lot. And I teach a lot of yoni practices. And I'm also hosting a sacred sexuality retreat in Galway in Ireland on May the 7th. So it's a weekend, and we'll be doing a lot of this work that we've discussed in sacred space next to the sea. I'll be doing a lot of shamanic drumming as well, which usually brings out people's codes and expression.
Oh, amazing. It's located in a beautiful space on the Connemara coast. I used to do a lot of my holidays there, and the codes there are so pure. There's quite a lot of vortex energy where you're going as well. Naomi, it's a place I'm really familiar with. So there's going to be lots of codes from the land that you'll be channeling through in that, I would say, as well. So I'm excited for those. Yeah, very powerful energy there. Yeah. It's magic. It's the space of magic. So yeah, it'll be amazing. I have one question that's popping out at me here, and it's from Judy. Hello, Judy, another lady she's joining the level 1 again after doing 1 and 2. I can't believe it. I can't wait to co-create with you, Judy. But she is saying, what ways can you describe Kundalini energy and also Shakti energy? Maybe is there a difference? And how would you describe that?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question, Judy. It's a really, really good question. So Kundalini energy is our life force energy, and it spirals up the spine. And it's in the tantric teachings, it's like 2 serpents up the spine. And one serpent is the feminine aspect, and one is the masculine. And it feels very electric. So it can feel like buzzing up the spine. And I had a lover who got Kundalini activated after meeting me, and he was like, what? And his words were perfect. What is this electrical buzzing feeling in my spine? That is what it feels like. And it's this feeling that it's like feeling really alive, a lot of passion, a love for life, and it comes with an awakening. So there's consciousness expansion, there's some ascension, and there can also be some symptoms with that, that are not, if it's not integrated. So Shakti energy is the feminine energy, and so this is the playfulness, this is the sensual energy, this is spiraling, this is just beautiful feminine energy. This is the energy that I'm transmitting now. It's very playful, it's very, very nurturing and loving, it's quite soft. So it's not the Kundalini fire, it's the Shakti fire. It's very, very loving, and it's like this,
It feels safe.
Safe and sensual, and also playful. It's the fun. So it's not going to come with a big awakening and symptoms. It's very, very juicy and safe. But it can be really hard to ignite in sisters, because like you said, a lot of sisters have shame, have judgment, have some suppression, have a memory in a past life or their childhood of where they expressed this Shakti energy and it was shut down, it was not received well, they were humiliated, or even it was dangerous. They had a bad experience after that, a trauma. So the Shakti energy, then, it feels like what we would know as turn on, feeling turned on, feeling a bit aroused, feeling a bit like this energy between you and someone else that you are attracted to, or this kind of magnetic energy between 2 people, or between you and yourself, because this is what my main message is. We're not trying to turn anyone on with our Shakti energy. We're not trying to seduce anyone. This energy is for ourselves. It's to circulate and enjoy for ourselves. And that's my main teaching, actually. It's for us. This is our pleasure, our Shakti energy. So they're both beautiful energies. They can both be activated at the same time. And this is, I teach a specific type of yoga called Kundalini Shakti yoga.
Okay.
That I've created, and it's from my background in both Kundalini yoga, which focuses on the auric fields, and Shakti yoga, which focuses on the wild feminine energy. And I blended them together, incorporating a lot of my other experience and qualifications, so like Qigong, Taoist practices like the yoni egg, and dance, of course, and breath work. So you can activate it with that, and I combine light language and cacao as well. So I hope that answers the question. And Judy, just let me know if you have any other questions.
Yeah.
There's no silly questions here. This is a deep topic that not everyone is talking about.
I have one. Manifestation, because
Mhm.
this is a big thing. We birth from this energy. How would you describe how manifest, because as we activate, we strengthen that space as well, and our manifestation powers come from there. What would be your kind of takeaway, I think, or advice when one is activating, and how that relates to manifestation?
Yeah, so the sexual energy is potent, and I find it's my most potent manifestation, co-creation tool. Like, you can write down all your wishes and say your affirmations, and these are very important tools. But we're talking about energy, and this is it's almost instant. So something I've been doing for many years is sex magic. So we're using the energy of orgasm, not just our sexual energy, but we're building it up and building it up and increasing it and increasing it. And so that when we do have many orgasms, those orgasms are directed, that orgasmic energy, which is very high frequency. I see it as the highest frequency, along with freedom, joy, and love. But it's like we direct that energy to a vision, a dream, and after every orgasmic experience, I say a prayer for for humanity. So may all beings be at peace and be free, and experience the full orgasmic bliss that we can experience. Because I think this is what we're doing when we're up there, in between lives. We're having a little rest. I feel like I've had memories of saying, I would really like to choose a woman's body this time because of this unlimited capacity for co-creation. And men have this capacity too,
Yes. Yeah.
of course, but it takes a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot of work for men to do this. There's a lot of, sexual arts, temple arts, practices for men, but they're often just a little bit impatient men to do the work. Like, it's a different process for men and women, and I do work with both. And for women, it's more of like an unraveling and a remembering, a lot of layers of conditioning being released. And for men, it's like it's a complete like wiping the slate clean almost, and then they have to go down a completely new path, which is quite challenging. It's a lot of work. So yeah, I hope I answered the question. It's very powerful energy, orgasmic energy, the frequency of pleasure, and it's so
Attractive.
yeah, it's
Yeah. Brings our visions to us with the pure intention that we're holding. Yeah.
always for the highest good.
Absolutely.
I've noticed that it works really well together with cacao spirit, because she brings us back to the heart space. So it can be easy when we're trying to manifest that we want this and that thing, and they can be quite 3D things sometimes, and there's no judgment around that. But cacao spirit helps us come into the heart space, so we can really focus on service and our vision, how we can co-create something for the collective, for humanity, for sisters, for our children. And those manifestations come really fast.
Chilled all over my body when you say that. Truth bumps. This is a space that we're in our power, isn't it? It's empowered manifesting. It's absolute joy, love, God, source, frequency. And that's the aligned manifested power. Imagine if we were all in the world tapped into that. There would be no war. There would be no sadness. Yeah, that's what I feel. It's like end all wars.
I've
This is a
seen
prescription.
it's you know, I've been in spaces where sisters are practicing this together, you know, practicing these practices together, and often having, you know, a common goal, like we're all shooting for the same vision, and it's so powerful. It's almost immediate, and it's, yeah, it's just, it's so beautiful, and it's like my wish for our new earth, our future.
Let's do a transmission if you're ready then. I don't see any other questions coming through. Thank you, Judy, for that.
Yeah, thank you, Judy.
And perhaps you choose the intention, Niomi, if you're good with that. And I want to just include all of you that will be joining us on the Light Language Initiative. I'm inviting your energies in because you're already creating the sacred container with us. And those of you to join, your soul will let you know. You'll feel a ping. If this is in your highest good to receive as well, please receive it with our open hearts. Niomi, what intention do you feel wants to come through?
Yeah, right now I'm feeling like I'm calling in a light language transmission and an activation for increasing and raising our vibration. I'm feeling like this is something that's quite, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, heaviness right now. So a light language transmission and an activation for raising our vibration individually and collectively, and calling in specifically the frequency of pleasure. How does that sound for you?
Absolutely beautiful, aligned. I'm up for it.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Can feel already a clearing happening in the throat. The tongue wants to unravel. Asa rogendriatra sotokorkandria sapoki ksati no yando soye mashoeti or ir ar ur iv ar koro rukanari ara ur id imararaka sotokoti Ramdri idri andro odri indri andro odri indri andro ondin eo anya yo he mo shatyatra Shakti tanahatra Shakti shikinanahatra ho sitikiaso ka Ndi at und et kishaturo andi eti maalu hindiana maosu.
I atara ue kikiaya nana at ur esh kiki atu tura esh titiaya nana heya kiki I atu tura ki titi atu tura ki iaya nana huetta hi iki I ashutu tu eti atura kikiaya na at ur heya nana ha heya nana at ur esh kiki aya nana asutur Huetti hi atutura ianara mahu eshaki awayana na hayana ma atu he huata ki ayana atu hita ayana na hana na na a uana na na an uana ana na 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 anu na ir hue hi ayatara ma ueki hue I iashutura kiki ayana ma a heyana ayatiti u esikiatur Hawe e anama atu tura ki e shiki atu e anama hat. Otu e anana ai anama atura kiki. Heshati ai atura ki. Awahai ana atu tura kiki ki ai anama at. Hue hihi atura ki ai atira wa ia. Hueta, hueta. Huetta hi ashuki, meteti aia tatara ki atura ke tatu tu tatu tu Heshiki ki atura and ana at tur Hoa I a shukukuku e ana na a tutur e kiki a ana ma a.
Thank you, sister. Wow, they were beautifully gentle, those energies. Thank you, Naomi. And I hope all of you watching are receiving that. You may feel like your body naturally wants to adjust or move. Please drink lots of water while these integrate. Caress if you're feeling anything coming up. Caress the body, tap it, feel it, embody just because of what's coming through Naomi there. Hodiana India Diagadi. Are we complete? Is there anything else for us to share?
I feel it's complete. Yeah, it is done.
I feel so too. This is a taster, my loves. If you would like to join us and play in the language of light, the speaking, the singing, the toning, the art, the writing, the creative expression, the song and the dance and the signing, then join us for level 1 initiation. Myself and Paula Walsh are co-hosting with Naomi, with Laurel Davis, and with the beautiful Sahara Celestial joining us also, along with any other sisters that on the previous courses. Thank you all. Thank you, Naomi. I'm definitely going to move around and enjoy that whole transmission. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you to the sisters who've been here in the space. Thank you for shining your light and your energy. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Bye, my darlings.
Bye.